to Starr Talk. My name is Robert Bruce Starr. By the way, I want to thank Scott Huckabee for that incredible music introduction to the show. Thank you, Scott. Tonight, we're going to have a very interesting show. You better make some calls, tell people to watch, because we have on with us two incredible people who can communicate with the dearly departed. I had a chance to meet these two folks and work with them personally, and they just blew me away with their talents. So right now, I would like to introduce my good friend Michael Parry. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here. And also Marty Baker. Thank you for coming, Marty.
Oh, thank you for having us.
And Michael, you've been in the spiritual world and into studies for many, many years. Tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about the work that you do.
Okay, well, I got into this metaphysical things when I was about 18. Excuse me. I began practicing metaphysical studies. I learned healing, which is a very good way to develop psychic abilities naturally. I had a few encounters with a few mediums that I knew, and one brought through a friend of mine who told me that I knew more about the other side than he did, and he was living there. So that made me acutely aware that maybe I had something to offer people, maybe down the line. And then several years ago, I started to really apply this in a more useful way. You know, I always did readings and use my abilities to help people, but I never really thought that I could do it on a broader scale. You know, like group meetings are a great demonstration of the afterlife. You know, so that's really it's a good introduction to people.
And your partner, Marty, has been. I've got to tell you, my personal experience was, and I'll share with you more a little bit later. But I went to visit you right after we met, and the people that came through were just amazing. We'll talk about that a little later. But as you and I were talking, and you were telling me about the people that were coming through, I noticed that Marty put these headphones on and went off someplace else. I don't know where she went. And then about 10 minutes later, she drew a picture of my mother, what she looked like when she was about 18, 19 years old, without a doubt, is my mother. Tell me how you got started being a kind of psychic artist.
Well, I've been an artist all my life, and I've always said that I could draw whatever I saw, but I never thought I could draw anything out of my imagination. I kept telling Michael, I don't have any imagination. I don't do that. So he kept saying he really thought I could do that. So I sat down one day and drew and erased and drew and erased, and finally came up with this older man. And I said, I don't know who it is, but here, I've drawn somebody out of my mind. Or I was out of my mind, I'm not sure. Anyway, we had a meditation group at the time, and our friend came over, and she picked up the picture and said, oh my God, that's my boss, who died exactly a year ago to the day. And sure enough, she brought over obituaries with his picture, and that was him.
That's all you needed to know.
That's all I needed.
Oh my God, there's a picture right in front of you that you just drew from what you said, your imagination.
And the first time it happened, so that was like Spirit telling me this is what you should be doing.
Well, there was no doubt in my mind, like I said, that you drew a picture of my mom, and of all the people to come through, because we talked to about 3 or 4 people that day through Michael, and I was a fan of both of yours from that point on. So, what do you think? We have an audience here tonight, and they look pretty friendly to me. I don't.
Yeah.
That's what I actually heard. A couple of things. They gave me hippie and trailer trash. Well, it turns out that this girl, the only picture she had of her and Diane together was a picture when they were going to a Halloween party, and Diane was dressed up as a hippie, and this girl was dressed up with a sign that said white trash. So that was pretty special.
Yeah, and this just happened, because this whole thing just happened.
Yes.
Now, here's a picture that's a little closer to my heart. Let's see if you can get this. When I first met you, here's a picture. This is a picture of my mom. And this is the picture that you drew of my mom. And I was very impressed because there it is, clear as day. It's what she looked like when she was about 18, and she even had the same hairdo. And what's interesting, what happened here was Michael had been working with me and brought up some people, and about a half hour into our session, I said, "Mark, come through. What are you waiting for?" And 3 seconds later, you said, "Oh, your mother's passed." I said, "Yeah." And then she started, exactly what happened was, you started saying, "Rebecca, I have a sister named Roberta." And then you mentioned Joanne, Jane, and I have a sister named Joan. And that's when you started drawing my mom. So you got my attention when that happened. So, are you drawn towards anyone else right now, or can I ask you a couple questions, whichever way you want to do it?
I think that most of the information was for these three in the front here and this lady here this evening on the end. It's always pretty difficult in a group, and it usually takes me a while to get into it, maybe an hour, and then I'm really moving, and the information really flows very quickly. So, but it seems that they jump around a little bit with me sometimes. Maybe it's just because I don't pick it up as quickly as... I know that all the stuff that I'm getting, I just don't know who it's for. And sometimes people just sit there, maybe I haven't said the key word or something, and they don't connect it straight away. So they hold back a little bit, and then they deliver more stuff, and I'm not sure who it's with. You see, so it's a little tricky in a group.
Well, what would you say is the reason why you're doing this work? What is the most important thing here for you?
It's healing. It's healing. It brings when I really make a connection with a person, it's very healing. It's very profound too. People, it reaches. They come up with things that I couldn't come up with. They tell me about. They show me that the person saw their father just after they passed, and or they had this amazing event happen, and they completely describe it. And when the person gets this, they absolutely know that this is someone telling them this from the other side. There's no way I could know this.
I would think from that point that if there was ever any doubt that life goes on, if there was ever any doubt that that there is a communication, it simply shifts from being physical to non-physical. That there is still a possibility.
It is physical. The other side is physical, and they can influence things here. They can move things. They can make you feel things. It takes a lot of energy to do it. This is just energy. This is just energy. This whole physical plane is just energy. Any scientist will tell you that. The other side's energy too, and it has form and shape just like here, except it's more amenable to thought. So, when these, it's right here. It's really, literally right here, interwoven into this physical reality.
And I know that when my mother came and spoke with me, I just knew that from that point on, I could hear from as many people as I wanted that there's spirit, and you move on, and there's life after death. But if you have a fear of dying, and someone comes through, you just have this sense of comfort. You have a sense of, well, they always seem to be in a good mood. They always seem to be feeling great. And, it's almost as if they're looking down at us, mortal beings here and saying, are you having fun down there with your illnesses and getting yourself sick and breaking this and having heartaches? And for me, when I knew that my mom was there on a different level, I no longer fear death, and I can go on with my life without that whole thing of fearing death. And that, to me, that would be the most important thing that you can do. To me, that would be the most important thing that you can do for the masses.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's easy to die. It's hard to live. That's a fact. I mean, it's easy to give up.
Right.
For me, it is. I mean, for me, it'd just be, it'd be nice to go there because that's home, really. The other side is home. This is like, I always compare it to kind of being like a diver. You go out for a day trip, and you put a diving suit on and you dive. And you're down there swimming around and messing around on the seabed, and you kind of forget about the guy upstairs pumping the air down to you, and then they tug on the rope and say, come on, it's time to come up now, and up you go, and you take your diving suit off, and you go back to shore and carry on your life. And it's just a little trip you made. And that's what the physical plane's like. And there's obviously a lot more to it. There's karma and reincarnation come into it.
Tell us about that. What are the laws of karma? And
Well, the law of karma really is just the physical plane. The whole physical reality is based on the law of karma. Action and reaction is the fundamental law. For every action there's a perfectly opposite and equal reaction. And that's how you get a rocket to the moon and back. That's how you do anything. That's how anything moves. That's the whole physical reality works on that principle. Well, it operates on the spiritual plane as well. So when you cross over, what you're doing is just casting off a sheath, an outer covering. And you still look pretty much the same when you passed over. And you exist in another world that is very much more brilliant and colorful and has a lot more sound and everything than this one. It's a more beautiful place.
I had a guest on my show. His name is Danny Brinkley. He wrote a book called Saved by the Light. And Danny met his death and died for 27 minutes and came back. And I remember what he said to me, had such an incredible impact, is that for everything that you do here, you don't answer for in this, you're not judged, you're not, beaten up, but when you pass, you have to look at the pain that you caused every single person, and you also get a chance to look at the good that you caused every single person. So from this point on, what I hear you saying is we have a chance to do all good and receive the good many, many times in return. To me, that's karma.
Well, yeah, people think that they're a physical being that's trying to have a spiritual existence, but actually you're a spiritual being having a physical existence. So it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, the way people look at things, And what you just described is, this is really an experiment in cause and effect. You're being like a little miniature creator on Earth, and you're seeing the repercussions and effects of what you do, what you think, everything that you construct here, and how it affects things, and its ripples and effects and repercussions. And then when you pass over, you have a reflection upon this. You judge yourself, nobody judges you, and you have elders that assist you with this because they've been there longer and they're wiser.